In the span of 3 years, what I presumed as an awesome life experience dramatically changed. At a point, it dipped so low that I was even tempted to take my own life. This is the story of the hardest decision of my life. On July 17, 2018, I graduated from Lanidio Lyceum with the grand idea that my life was just getting started. At the time, I was still breaking, or as everyone likes to call it, breakdancing, and even competed to grand events like the Youth Olympics. But that was soon to be over, as 4 days later, on the 21st of July 2018, I had to give myself in my country's service, where my days in the army began. This was the first time in my life that I actually experienced parts of my identity going away. I was constantly bombarded with pretty much meaningless tasks, and every day that passed, it was becoming more and more apparent that I wasn't myself anymore. It's not to say it was physically hard, but the mentality in the army is something that would benefit from an update to today's standards. During the first days in the army, I met a friend that got me into the world of musical theatre. My friend had just finished his studies in the UK and he returned to Cyprus to finish his service. After a long chat with him, I was certain, this is what I wanted my life to be about. So I started training. While in the army and with an injury on my left hip, I trained continuously for the remainder of my service. After I completed my service, I moved alone in a small studio apartment to a nearby village called Thalali, next to the capital of Cyprus, Nicosia. After settling all of my stuff into my new home, I immediately started looking for a job. 2 months later, I found a job at a local supermarket. It wasn't the best and I was getting paid minimum wage, working 7 days a week so that I could afford my accommodation and pay the school. In the mornings I was working at the supermarket and in the evenings I had training for the auditions in musical theatre. It was tough. Some days I would even train for 6-7 hours after working a full shift and then go for a 20 to 30 minute run. But I didn't care. I'd do anything to pass these exams. After all, this was my ticket to the awesome dreamy life that I've been dreaming of. The days passed and fast forward 5 months later, it was time for my auditions. The pressure was high, but I wasn't going to give in. I trained so hard for this, and even though I didn't feel ready, I was confident. Because I realized there's nothing I can do to get better right now, so I might as well show my strong suits. And so I did. I ended up getting into 5 out of 6 colleges, and some of them even gave me scholarships. But I got most happy about getting into my dream college. After returning from the trip, I spent the rest of the year refining and honing my skills to be ready for college. September 4th, I arrived in the UK and it was finally time for me to open my wings and fly, see the world, meet new friends, and have a ton of fun. Obviously, things went a lot different than what I expected. On the first and second days, we had meet and greet with the other first years and then went to parties, but on the third day, lockdown hit and I had made little to no connections or friends, so I had to rely on social media and other forms of entertainment to keep my sanity. Unfortunately, that didn't go well either. With a panic that insisted all around me and my family being worried that I was left alone in a foreign country, I couldn't help but succumb to the pressure, feeling hopeless and alone. That took a big hit on my mental health as I started eating unhealthy, sometimes not having mood for class, and at a point not keeping up with college. After I got over it and on my 3rd month of training, I suffered an injury on my left hip called labral tear, which if left untreated would leave me with osteoarthritis for the rest of my life, which would mean the end of my career in the musical theatre industry. After a chat with the headmaster about it, we decided to halt the classes and find a treatment. For those who don't know what a labral tear is, it basically means that the labrum around the hip joint got damaged and needs stitching together and reforming of the bones around it to prevent future injuries. An operation like that would need around 7 to 8 months of recovery to get back to sports, which means I'd have to take a gap year. This meant really bad news to me, as I didn't take this lightly and going for surgery through the NHS was in my head at the time a terrible idea. So I continued searching for a good institution for my surgery, and in the meantime I started working at Starbucks to sustain myself economically. 5 months later, and after a lot of fruitless searching, I found out that the hospital next to me had an excellent orthopedic that had long experience in this department. I got excited and quickly went to my private doctor to book the appropriate surgery through the NHS because otherwise I couldn't afford it. We did a lot of tests, and on July 1st he announced to me that I had 3 options. First, do nothing about it and forget musical theatre forever. Second, have an injection of steroids. And third, have the surgery. If you've been following me, you must already know that I obviously went with the third option. With the surgery booked in and everything settled, it was time for me to travel back to Cyprus to see my family and spend the summer there. The surgery was due to take place on the 11th of September. That meant I was late for college this year, but I was still happy since I was able to get this surgery for basically free. Or did I? Because on the 10th of September, a day before my flight, I called in to clarify that my surgery was actually being paid by the NHS. And to my surprise, it was not. Yes, I booked in a surgery that was supposed to be covered by NHS, but it's not. And now they're asking me to pay 7,600 British pounds in cash. What's going on here? Well, it turns out that Brexit happened a month ago and I received no calls nor emails to inform me that I have to pay for the treatment, so tough luck to me. I was forced to cancel my flights and stay in Cyprus to find treatment here. With everything that's going on in the world right now, I had a college to go back to, an injury to treat, and a life to decide what is it that I'm going to do in the end. The first thing I did was try to get treatment here, but as everyone knows here in Cyprus, the healthcare system sucks. I ended up being diagnosed with a different injury than what I was told up to now 4 doctors. I then decided it was time to try another 2 doctors here in Cyprus, and not to my surprise, they disagreed with each other, having the same exact scans. One said I have a herniation pit, which means that there's a hole in the bone, and the other said tendonitis. I was devastated. I felt hopeless and confused. Adulthood hit like a truck, and I had none to take solid advice from. So I spent the rest of the year wandering around, thinking and asking what I should do, but I had no solid advice. I heard a variety of solutions, but none seemed to stick. So I decided enough is enough. I have to trust in myself for the treatment and take control of my own life. And that's what I did. Over the next 2 months, I got a job at a local coffee shop. I hired myself a life coach, and I decided that I'm gonna get whatever I want done. Whether that will be my health, goals, a college degree, whatever that is, I'm gonna get it done. I guess the takeaway from this video is not that I did everything right, nor that I made the best decisions, but that I could have done a lot better for my mental and physical health had I been more proactive and responsible towards myself. I now only realized that I wasn't my first priority, and that I was getting myself all over the place, and that's okay. So, if you want something for yourself, whether that's to treat an injury, a college degree, a YouTube channel, whatever that is, be proactive and decide. Because decisions are what takes us from where we are to where we want to be. Thanks for watching. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I wanted to push out my personal story. It's been very hard for me to open up and say these things. It's not easy to just open up, especially in YouTube. A lot of people are going through this, and I wanted to make a video to help you guys out. My deepest desire is to inspire you to get out there and just be yourselves and do what you want to do. Take your decisions and be proud about yourselves. So anyway guys, thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.